I'm gonna explain exactly to you how you could start out like this and reach the end goal like this. Okay, we're gonna start really simple, just from where we get the FPS from the hardware and how much do we need actually. Okay, first thing, the monitor. At least get in 144 Hz. Anything less and you're like a monkey compared to someone who has 144 or above. The hertz is the basic need for the FPS. So how much hertz you have, you need to get at least that FPS. So in my example, I have a 550 hertz monitor, so I need to at least have 550 FPS to get like the maximum amount of potential. Secondly, which components do actually give us FPS? In Valorant, about 70% of the FPS come from the CPU, and at the max, like about 20% the GPU. And for normal people who like play the full resolution, not 4K, it could be even less, like about 10 to 15%. Okay, the last thing I wanted to tell you, please, if you buy a new CPU, do not buy Intel for if you want to max your FPS. Buy a CPU which looks like on the right side, like a thick one from AMD. One of the first things you can do is to go on Valorant itself, open file location. Here you go to Riot Games, you go to Valorant, Live, then here you click on Valorant Properties, go to Compatibility. You check disable full screen optimization like this and change high DPI or write high DPI scaling behavior like this. And then you click apply. Just to check if everything is done correctly, you go into shooter game to binaries Win64. And here you're gonna search the Valorant Win64 shipping exe. Again, properties, compatibility, and check if it's like this. It's like grayed out, then it's done correctly. Disable full screen. If not, just make it the same. Enable this one and also this one. Click apply and then it's done. Let's go to the best settings you can choose in Valorant itself. Yeah, we're just gonna go through the things that will help you with FPS. So one thing is, if you really want to try hard, just go full screen. But for me, it didn't even matter that much, and I alt tab a lot, so I use full screen, window full screen. Also, I would really suggest to play with different resolutions. Like there are really many, and you can gain a lot of FPS if you just change them and try. I myself prefer to play on 4:3 resolutions. You can try these ones. You can just search like what the pros use. So just test this out. Also if you use a lower resolution, you will gain more FPS because yeah, there's like for the GPU itself, there's less pictures, there's less pixels he has to process at the same time. So this should help you to gain more FPS, and also it helps for me with my mind because this resolution is like, yeah, it's really zoomed out. You don't really need that much space. Yes. Then from the settings, you can leave it here all on. Just this one I put to off because then it doesn't limit the FPS. And here you put on plus boost. Some people like to limit the FPS to like the monitor refresh rate or a little above it, so it's like more consistent. You can just limit it to 500, so it's fucking dog shit. Yeah, so I just turn it off. Next thing is graphics quality. Okay, here it's really simple. I think for everybody, you should gain more FPS this way. Everything else you put to low or off, VSync especially off. Here, now you can choose here. Either you put none. It doesn't really do that much. You can put to none or, yeah, I mean, I like to put it to 4x, but let's just go for the max FPS. And this one, just makes your skin more beautiful, and really the impact on the FPS is like non-existent. Maybe you lose 1 FPS, but so I put it at 4. It really doesn't make that much difference. And everything else I put on off. Yeah, this way we already like consistently have about 200 more FPS just from these settings. Now for optimizing in all the NVIDIA users, go to your control panel. So first step, just to disable G-Sync. G-Sync is great, I guess, if you don't get much FPS. If you have like a minimal setup, you should look more into G-Sync itself. But this video is about maxing your FPS. So we disable this because this creates input lag. So next thing is you use this one on performance. So like this one, and then you click apply. Another sleeper thing, it's not about FPS, but I would suggest you do it, is to go inside adjust desktop color settings, and you can go to your corresponding desktops. And then I would suggest to put the digital vibrance just higher. It helps with the colors, it looks more beautiful, everything. So just change this, apply, and yes. Okay, the last tip is to check in NVIDIA control panel under help, system information. Then the window's gonna pop up, and then search if your system allows resizable bar. Maybe it's not turned on in the BIOS. Maybe you're not supported, but just check if this one exists. Maybe it says no or unsupported. Then you have to enable it in the BIOS itself. I can link a video where it is done. It's not that complicated, but just check if it is even here. If it's not there, it's not supported. But if it's here and enabled, you have done everything right. You have enabled it in BIOS, but it's not activated just yet. You have to go to this link, to the GitHub from OrbMock, and download the NVIDIA Profile Inspector. When you have downloaded it, you can run it, you can open it and run the exe file. Yeah, just say run, yes, yes. Exactly. And then here you can either choose like the global profile, or go to a game specifically. But here you can see we went to global, like our default PC, and our bar, this one, is disabled by default. So just go inside here, put it to enabled, and then apply changes, and it's done. With this setting, we'll gain 10 to 15% increase. So it's really an important setting. Okay, a real quick tip for all laptop users is to see if they have a little more money, man. Jokes aside, now the last serious tip for laptop users is to either really use an external monitor, as you can see on the screen, or use a mux switch, or see if your mux switch is enabled or if you even have one. Without the mux switch, is really creates input lag. So either get a 144 Hz monitor or enable the mux switch if you have one. Okay, also hot take for the NVIDIA users. If you have GeForce Experience, would show here if you have it, I would really suggest you to deinstall it. If you don't use it for like recording, which you can also use other softwares like me, like OBS, you should really deinstall it. Here we can see like the different statistics, like the performance impact of GeForce Experience itself. You can keep it. I uninstalled it, but if you want to keep it, you just have to tweak one setting to gain the FPS back. This one, the game filter and photo mode, this you have to turn off. Okay, another thing you can do is press Windows and I, then go to play or games and go to the game mode. For this setting is up to you. It could go both ways. Normally they always say, like in guides where they don't test benchmarks, they say turn this on. But in the benchmarks itself, oftentimes it didn't really give a boost or gave a decrease sometimes. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna turn it off. And yeah, fuck this setting. Also, when you here, you can go into the game bar and to turn it off. Then you gain more performance, so you can your PC can focus more on the game itself. Yes, then we can also go to the graphic settings, and here you can try to enable this one. It optimizes especially for if play in borderless, so you can test it out. If you play full screen, it doesn't really yeah matter that much. This one, auto HDR, do not enable this one. I heard it gives color problems with Valorant, and also it puts input lag, so do not enable this one. And if you go to advanced graphic settings, you can enable accelerated GPU planning. Enable this one, and then you gain way more performance. On the newer setups, on the new Windows, you don't really have to manually add your desktop apps. You want to set to you don't have to do it manually. As you can see, I didn't do this. It did it on its own. You can also leave it if it's like a maximum performance your GPU. So just leave it as it is. Another thing is to go to the task manager. So just press Control, Shift, and ESC. Then it opens up your task manager. You go to startup apps, and here you disable everything which you don't want. You can also like manually close them when you play games. But I would just suggest to disable everything you don't need, and yeah, open the apps when you actually need them. So your PC has more resources for the game itself. Okay, the next thing many people do not do is to optimize Discord. If you have Discord, most of the gamers have Discord open to play with friends or just leave it on. Then go to user settings. We have to tweak it. Go to advanced and then turn off the hardware acceleration, because with the hardware acceleration, the Discord will use your GPU to make Discord run smoother, so your game loses resources. And also turn off this one. It's enabled normally. Turn off the in-game overlay. It also sucks resources from your system. Another thing a lot of gamers have open when they play games is Steam itself. Honestly, if you play Valorant, just go in here and then close exit Steam. Then it doesn't take any resources at all, and you don't have to tweak the settings that much. But if you want to have it open, or you want it to like for Steam games, then go to in here, go to settings. First thing again, you can turn off the Steam overlay for maximum performance. It's still really handy, like for games like CS2 now, if you want to go into the shop in the game. So I leave it on, but you should turn it off. Yeah, another thing is to go to interface and then look if enable GPU accelerated rendering and enable hardware video decoding is on. Okay, the last step is to optimize Chrome itself. So we go open Chrome, we go in here, we go to settings, we go to system, and then here we're gonna disable continue running background apps when Google Chrome is closed, and use graphics acceleration when available. These two we turn off, and then you have to relaunch it. Okay, this concluded the steps, which hopefully work for you. So you get at least your refresh rate from your monitor, your hertz. If it didn't work, you can try the following steps. but really do not try them if you don't have to. Okay, if you didn't get enough FPS from the current settings, we have to do it manually. First you have to do this and apply. So our manual 3D settings will be applied. Yeah, here again, it's in global and programs. Global is for everything, and programs you can set specific for your games. So if you want to go, for example, high performance on certain games, you can choose it there. I would suggest it. But what you can change in here, the most important thing you should look into is image sharpening. Why? I will show you a clip where he explains it way better than I could. Yeah, we're just gonna watch it together.
First setting, we have image sharpening or image scaling, depending if your system supports it. NVIDIA's image scaling, or NIS, is a fantastic and easy way to get more performance out of some of your favorite games, similar to how AMD's FSR operates, but at a driver level. In very basic terms, if you enable this setting and boot into one of your favorite games, set the resolution in your game to anything lower than your monitor's native resolution, NIS will kick in, upscaling that resolution, helping it scale and look better than what the resolution typically would on your system, providing a big FPS uplift. This isn't as good as DLSS or FSR technology, but it's built into the driver and available if you want it. In this instance, I can go down from 2160p to 1836, which is a tiny reduction in overall resolution, but provides me with a massive FPS bump, and I've been using this in almost all of the games in which I play. If you've seen a decent FPS bump, but it's not quite enough, and you're still happy with how the game looks, lower the resolution by another step. Keep repeating this step until you find a resolution which both performs well and still looks good on your system.
Okay. So if we want the same benefit as him, as he told, with the scaling and sharpening, if you don't get enough FPS, you have two options. Either it says already image scaling, then you can turn it on. If it's image sharpening like me, you also have to turn it on, but you have to make another step. Because right now we only have the sharpening, not the scaling. The other you find in, yes, apply changes. Other you see in adjust desktop size and position, you go to your desktop, put in full screen, change performance scaling on GPU. This setting is optional. It's generally recommended that you turn it on, but some games could cause some problems. But yeah, just test it out. I would leave it on and press apply, and there you go. Keep in mind you have to change your resolution in-game to one lower of your native res. But the one thing would be to go on View Advanced System Settings, and here go on Performance or Visual, go to Settings, and here you can put it to adjust for best performance. You can press apply. This will take a while, but you can see it minimizes what the PC has to run, so you gain a little more performance. Another thing you can do is also to go in here, Windows R, localappdata / Valorant. I will put it in the video. Then you will have multiple, I guess. Then you're just gonna watch. I'm gonna sort by date. You will see the folder which corresponds to your account. You go inside Windows and then to game user settings. Okay, here you can have the settings as followed. You can have everything to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And now this one depends. If you have a good PC, you can leave it at 100. If you had like a mid PC, I would suggest 95. And if you really have like a potato PC, you put in 85. You could even try 80, but I wouldn't suggest to go deeper because the game really is gonna look like shit. And then you would have to put save on it. And also, do not trust other guys who other tutorials where you should download like FPS boost packages and they show you how he runs the files, like it's 6 different files. I wouldn't run this because this bypasses a lot of securities, and it can leave a lot of damage. Just do these steps. If it doesn't work, just consider an upgrade, like actual. This concludes it. I hope I could help you. Leave a like, leave a comment if it worked, if it didn't work.